So to add some metadata on our token, we're gonna just duplicate this. This will be a lot easier. By the way, I would like to, commit this. So completed lesson 3 and 4. Okay, so I have that committed. So let me create this, copy, paste, and we can rename this to 05. We call this, you can call it token metadata. So there we have it. So in this token metadata, we need all this information. For now, I'm going to remove these ones. Other than this, these are some critical account system that we need. We also need another account, called the token, account, the token account. And this should be a new public key. You understand? And we can copy this token account here, which is this one, and paste it in here. Great. So we have that token account. We then need to specify the metadata of this token. So say const metadata is equal to an object. So the name of this token, we want to give it Dapp Mentors Channel. So we'll also give it a symbol. We'll call it DMC. You understand that? And if you have more metadata about this token, such as other information that are relevant to this token, that is on the IPFS, or you also have Aweave. I did cover a tutorial where I discussed about various decentralized data storage network, okay, and Aweave is one of them. Or if you have Pinata or any place that you can have off-chain data, okay, you can supply it here in this place called URI. URI, you understand? But now I'm just going to put a dummy information there, okay? And please, this thing is not legitimate because anybody can clone this, anybody can utilize the same thing. So the main legitimate reference to a token is the token address. That is the standard. So pay attention to that. That is very important, okay? So you want to also put seller fee basis. Seller fee basis points. Okay, I'm just going to paste that instead of typing it all together. We don't have that seller fee basis point. So we have creator, which is going to be null. These are some metadata that you're just describing, enriching or giving more information about this token. So you can basically add whatever you want to add in there. But one of the most important, is this name and symbol, the name symbol, you understand? And we also have collection to be null, and we have uses to be null. So these are just some basic information that you need to know about this coin that we are creating. So now that you've defined the information, the metadata of this token, you need to then, you need to synchronize it with this. So we need to synchronize this and update this information. You understand that? That is what we want to do. To synchronize it, this synchronization means like something like rewriting this information here, okay? So to do that, we call on a function, let's say metadata, metadata token sync. So let's call it metadata token sync. All right, so I'm going to call on this public key. I want to call this method called find program address sync. So you want to find that program address and synchronize with it. So in this place, it first accepts an array, and this array contains, it's going to be in a buffer format, and you want to convert this metadata, okay, this thing called metadata. So I want to give this name metadata. Okay, so that is the name, and you want to then merge it with this. So there is something called token metadata program ID. So this token metadata program ID here, it helps to manage token metadata on the Solana blockchain. So it's a program on the Solana blockchain that is responsible for managing token metadata. You can see a lot of people are creating tokens. You can see how, if I refresh this, you will see that a few seconds ago somebody just created something, because a whole lot of people are learning. You can see a few seconds ago. So it's managing all the token metadata that is created in this blockchain, and especially in this particular cluster called DevNet. Okay, so we need to also, if we want to brand our token metadata token so that it will have this metadata, we need to make sure that we consult this program and blend it together with our token. So that is what we have. So we're going to create we're going to do that now. So we want to do const, say token metadata program ID is going to be new public key as well, and of course let's put in this token metadata program ID in there. So here we go, and then we can bring it here now. All right, so this is the metadata program ID, and you want to convert that to buffer as well. Say dot to buffer. All right, so after that you want to make sure that you do the same thing with this token account, because you want to merge them together. All right, so token account dot to buffer as well. So this is one parameter that we're adding. All right, so the second parameter is the public key of the token metadata, okay, program, okay, which is still the same thing as this. So we're just going to paste this here. All right, so this is how it is. So this information, we'll get the data that we need to synchronize this together, okay. So now once you get this, we want to say const the metadata PD is equal to this metadata sync, and you grab the first result that comes back. All right, and with that we can then perform a transaction. Say create a transaction object. It's called to new transaction from Solana Web3. So now let's create the instruction for this transaction. So I want to say const create metadata, or say add metadata, to token instruction. So this instruction is responsible for doing that. To do this, there is another package that we need to install. This package is called this package is responsible for executing what we're trying to do, which is to add metadata. So it's a Solana package. We'll say and add this at metaplex-foundation/mpl-token-metadata is the package that is responsible for adding metadata to your token. So we're installing it right now. Please make sure you install this particular version. All right, so I believe there is a new version, but it's a little bit okay, here we go. So now let's create this token. I want to say create. There's this thing. This is just funny. Create. I don't know why they name it like this. Create metadata. We're gonna have to import this first. Okay, so I'm gonna remove this. Let's import this first. See, import from, call this create. I have to specify exactly what I'm looking for. Maybe this library is not well optimized. So it's declared. So I'm importing this. This is what I want here. So create metadata. Okay, so this is what I was telling you about, that this particular package, one has to import the accurate version, because there is a change in how this is done, and it's kind of affecting our result. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to uninstall the one I just added. So I'll say yarn remove. Okay, I'm going to remove this package. I will come back to it again, and then I will install version 2, which is why I was checking something. So version 2 is the one that makes sense. So we need to install that very version 2. Okay, so let's have version 2 installed so that we can see the kind of result that we're looking for. So it's removed. Let's add it back, but this time we want to say add 2. So this is version 2 that we want to add. Okay, let's check it out here. So you see that this is the version that we just installed now. So let's do this again. You can see that it's no longer producing any error for us because we're getting the right version that we're looking for. So now let's create that metadata. So we do this. It will require an object. Okay. The first object that is going to require, we need something called account. Okay, so what we're saying is the accounts that are involved in this metadata stuff. So it is metadata. You specify metadata, this PDA. Okay, so that's the first information. The second information is the mint, the token, the particular token that we're trying to add some metadata on is this token account here. We also need the mint authority. Okay, who is the owner of this token? So we want to put in their private key, which is this owner dot public key. We also need the payer, who is paying for this particular transaction. Okay, it's going to be the owner as well, owner dot public key. And lastly, update authority. So the ability to update the authority of this particular token is in the hands of this is in the hand of this owner as well. So owner dot public key. So you add in all this information. You also need another one. Okay, so this one we're calling on this create metadata account arg. So this is another function that will help us to take more information. So collection details is null. Data is metadata. I'm going to explain this just a moment now. This is metadata and is mutable. It's true. So this information will help us to add or create an account, like update that metadata record. So let me explain this again to you so that I'll be clear. This here is an instruction that we're writing, and this instruction is responsible for adding metadata to a token account. You get that? So for our token, we don't quite have a metadata for it yet. So if we go back here, so we don't have any metadata for it. So this instruction, create or add that metadata. So this instruction takes two parameters, which are all objects, So the first object, specifies the accounts that are involved in this particular token. Okay, you can see how I specify the mint, token account, the mint authority, the payer, the person that is paying for this transaction, and the update authority, which is the account that, in case of future update, that is permitted to update this particular token. And then the second metadata involved is, it specifies the metadata itself that will be used to update that token, okay, which is this here, okay. And you can see that there's a difference here. This one is the metadata PA, which is this, this first array of this first array, which contains all the accounts that are involved in the instruction, and this part is the entire metadata itself, which is this one here. Okay, so you can see that, and it's mutable is whether this account is mutable or not. So you can change all this information back. So that's why we'll specify it to be true. So this is the instruction here. So I hope that is clearer now. All right. So after you do this, you then need to create that, add it to the transaction. You remember we created the transaction object before. So I want to call add and want to put this transaction here, this instruction. So after you do this, you can say const signature. Signature is equal to, that we're going to send this transaction to the blockchain now. So we need to call that send and confirm transaction function again. And inside of this function, we need to pass the blockchain network, which is this connection. And this is the transaction that you're sending. And this is the person that is paying for this transaction, which is the owner. All right. So you have all this information. And once this is sent, you want to simply just log out something saying, you want to derive the, you want to create a link like we did before. We can just do that right now. So we can grab this link. Okay, so this is the link, and this is not an address. This is an address. Okay, so this is an address, and yeah, it's linked to a specific address, and you want to pass in this signature here. Sorry, I'm confusing it a little bit. So this first link that we want here, we can simply just say let, because I want to update it a little bit. So remember, there is different kinds of links on the Explorer. One is an address, the other is a block and a transaction. For this time, this is a transaction, which is this signature right here. Okay, so we want the link to this transaction, we want to trace it. and we want to simply just log out that transaction and say something like that it has been confirmed. So I'm going to come here, say, done metadata or token metadata added. All right, and you supply the link here. So after you've done this, you also want to do another thing. You want to also show the link to that transaction that happened. You get, on that token account. So you want to give people the opportunity to go and look at that token account and see how it now looks. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to come here and I will update this. I'll say this, and this is an address this time, and we're going to the token account, you understand, and we want to log out this, informing them that they can check it out. Look up the token again. Okay, so you save that. All right, let's save that and we'll test it out. Okay, we've written quite a lot of things here. So for now, let's refresh this first. You see that all this information, see what is happening here. So it's a unknown token and all of that. No useful details here. All right, and there is no metadata here either. So if I come here and we run this command, say npx es run, and we're running 05. Okay, so let's execute that. Okay, so they are all successful. So you can see here the first one is the metadata has been added. Okay, so this is a transaction that happened. So if I copy this transaction, I'll come here, paste it here. Let's look it up. You can see that there was a transaction that happened here, and it was confirmed, everything about it, the hash. You see the system program. You see that is a token metadata program. So is it metadata account, upgrade, thing. So there's a lot of other crazy information here that happened. So this is it. But then again, if we check, if we can decide to go back, because if I go back, it's the same thing as what was printed here. So this particular account, if I visit it again, the token metadata, or if I just go back, you will see that it's been updated. You can see that Dapp Mentors channel, you see it's updated, which is really cool. And you can see that it has a metadata now structure. You can see all those information about the metadata, which is cool. All right, so this is how you update your token metadata on the Solana blockchain. So in the next part of this tutorial, we're going to create what is called we call this associate account. Okay, token associate account. That is how you actually put some token people can mint to their associate account. So I'm going to show you that in more details in the next lesson. See you then.